Hey guys, Richard at Ryden's Room here, doing my latest TV show review. This time it's for season 3 of South Park. This one's going to be in 2 parts just because this is 17 episodes long and based on my series 2 one, which was 18, that took way over 20 minutes. So I'm going to stop now. I've already thought of a good exit point, which is roughly halfway through. So yeah, straight on to this. I absolutely love this series. I know there's this belief that series 2 is a lot weaker. I didn't think that was the case at all, but it probably is of the first 3 the weaker series, but series 3 is just complete gold. The fact they're able to do this while still working on the South Park film at the same time, similar things how they thought series 8 suffered because of America, but it really didn't. And no problems at all. First episode, Rainforest. So great, it's the basic idea that Americans are protesting the rainforest being destroyed and doing everything to stop it, usually with a terrible musical number. The boys get dragged into it. Cartman is just hysterical. I mean, I'm not a big fan of episode of Cartman's just evil, but it's much more funny when he's a complete brat, and here he's just the brat, the bratest kid ever, the kid from hell. He's a choir teacher who Jennifer Aniston voices, just completely hates him by the end. He's just finding out anything he wants to talk about, and he's got no filter whatsoever. It's wow, look at the Costa Rican prostitutes, you guys. And he's hitting animals with sticks. Oh, it's very, very funny. And in the end, the teacher has enough, realizes the rainforest is this place of all these horrible things, giant bugs or snakes that kill their tour guide, and then start attacking. Cartman disciplines with a stick, and it tries to then kill him as well. Oh, it's great. So in the end, they sing a song about how terrible the rainforest is, and they got stop the rainforest today. Love the episode, and it's also one of those few episodes that the second episode carries over a bit because Kenny survives. He gets a girlfriend, and he, of course, Kenny, like usual, just gets randomly hit by lightning. His girlfriend actually tries to help him, and it works. She resuscitates him, and then the next episode is called Spontaneous Combustion, and it follows straight on. Kenny's been visiting his girlfriend. She lives miles away, so he's getting the bus, and he spontaneously combusts because he's holding his farts in, and then it starts happening to other residents of South Park, and Randy Marsh, Stan's dad, probably his most developed roles so far. He goes in, he's the only scientific mind in South Park, so he gets told or else find the cure for spontaneous combustion. He, of course, works out the obvious, why Kenny and other random people have been burning to death. So, of course, everyone is ordered to fart as much as they want, and, of course, that just destroys the ozone, and everyone starts... along with the smell of everyone farting all the time being terrible, you've then got the temperature going up and everyone's miserable. And of course, and Stan's dad realizes that you should only fart when it's appropriate or very funny. And the B plot is they're doing because episode 1 didn't have a B plot. It's one of the few that's good enough to carry its own one, whereas this one needed one. Basically, they're doing a Stations of the Cross thing. Cartman demands that he be made Jesus, and they basically decide to crucify him because Kyle overhears his mum and dad arguing because he can't get a erection, and they think if they erect Cartman on a cross, that will somehow give a erection to Kyle's dad. It's great stuff. I love how there are times when the boys didn't know everything, and that's absolutely one of those times. In the end, Kyle's dad gets his erection and gives it to his mum. They all forget about Cartman. Cartman's left on the cross for about 2 weeks. He only dreams that Chef saves him. Officer Barbrady does show up and just sees the cross and just T is for turtle and leaves him there. And Cartman survives on the fact his body. He just looks like a white, starving Marvin by the end. Very, very funny episode, and it's nice how it ties into the first one as well. Next episode, I absolutely love this one. The Succubus. This is where Pop Fungo comes from. You've got Chef, who quits his job, decides to get married, and Chef is also full of life, feels happy sleeping with random women. Suddenly, he's deeply in love with this woman. Maybe he's just met this person he genuinely likes. No, she's a succubus. Mr. Garrison, of all people, clears it up for the boys. The succubus is a demon sent from hell to suck the life out of a man. That's clearly what's happened. And of course, you should think this is ridiculous. And it turns out Mr. Garrison was correct. Chef's failed to say she's a goddamn succubus. Yeah, she is a succubus. It's very, very funny. In the end, the succubus is defeated because even though Chef turns his back on the boys, they don't give up on him and manage to find this song that she always sings, singing it backwards, and that reveals her true form and then kills her for good. And Chef's realizes he doesn't know what he really saw in her. Mr. Garrison, of course, boom-tang, boom-tang. Very, very funny. That's the A plot, and then by the end, everything's back to normal. Chef's replacement, Mr. Derp, who does things like hit himself across the head with a hammer for no reason, because isn't he a great character? He disappears but does get seen again in a later episode. But yeah, Chef's back to normal. And B plot is Cartman's got bad eyesight, and he's got this hysterical eye doctor who loves to torment him, constantly just putting him down about his way. How's my little piggy today? And even as Cartman do his eye test, not best scene, but Cartman has to read and sign, I am a little piggy. It's very, very funny. He just constantly makes Cartman's life a complete hell, puts these giant glasses on him and staples them to Cartman's head so he can't take them off. And then next thing, Cartman's eyes get laser eye surgery. The eye doctor screws the laser eye surgery up so Cartman's eyes are bandaged for 2 weeks. And then Cartman takes Kenny's eyes at the end. And there's a theory that Cartman knows about Kenny's immortality through having his eyes. Although I personally think it's the other one I'll mention in a later episode, something that happened involving Kenny's memories. But yeah, it's good theory. So yeah, great episode. The eye doctor's obviously hysterical. Oh, and Chef's parents show up for the first time. They're just constantly about how they keep battling the Loch Ness monster, who takes different forms and keeps asking for tree fitty from them. Great stuff. And they come back a few times after. Next episode is Jack of the Saws. Yeah, it's Jar Jar Binks. Even the female one is Misa named June. So yeah, they are basically the most annoying creatures ever. And surprisingly, Cartman actually really likes the Jackovosaurs. The kids at the end seem to think it's because they're as annoying as he is, but yeah, you actually feel bad for Cartman in the end when the Jackovosaurs leave, because obviously they're not going to stick around long term. But yeah, they're really hysterically bad characters. They're just so annoying. Like, even when they eventually, like, the two of them have kids, like, of course, they're in the 4th grade, like, the next day, and they're just causing scenes, constantly, like, fighting each other. Whenever the question gets asked, I don't know. And it's just brilliant stuff. And yeah, Cartman is the only one who actually likes the Jackovosaurs. It's basically this townspeople trick the Jackov and his family into leaving, and Cartman's actually quite upset. You feel bad for him. I mean, there are episodes when Cartman isn't a monster. He's actually quite upset by things happening, and that's one of them. But yeah, Jackovosaurs absolutely suck, but of course that's the point. Jar Jar Binks sucks, and Jackov and June are just as terrible. But yeah, good episode. Next one is Tweak versus Craig. Tweak, of course, appeared in the Underpants Gnomes episode. Craig is always the kid outside Mr. Mackey's office for constantly flipping people off. So it may even be a type of Tourette's. He honestly doesn't seem to know he's doing it. So yeah, I think this might be the first episode Craig really gets anything to do. As Tweak is his second big episode. Basically, Tweak and Craig are believed to be the biggest troublemakers in the class, so the boys engineer a fight. First of all, Tweak and Craig don't even know how to fight each other. Eventually Tweak gets trained as a boxer and Cartman trains Craig as a sumo wrestler. They end up fighting and hospitalise each other. No one learns a lesson. The kids just make them fight each other again and again. Great stuff. B-plot in that one is they got a new teacher, Mr. Adler, who teaches shop class, and he's like traumatised by his girlfriend's death. He's constantly telling kids, hey, don't screw around. And how that will come, like the two plots come together is, yeah, the kids have picked shop class. All the girls are doing homework, even the girls who didn't want to do homework being forced into it. And Kenny's volunteered for homework because, of course, he's very aware of how dangerous shop class is. You see Cartman just carving this log of wood and this electric saw, like no safety goggles or anything. Like, yeah, Kenny's gonna get killed. And sure enough, he does. The fight ends up going away into shop class. Kenny gets badly injured, and Mr. Adler's able to say goodbye to his girlfriend, who appears through Kenny's body. Great stuff. Yeah, for the episode, Mr. Adler's shown up a few times. Don't really do too much, but it's always nice when they got the odd new teacher here and there. And of course, he's great. He's like a manly man, telling the boys that some of them will be lawyers or doctors. Most of them will just do menial jobs, and he's there to teach them that. Likewise, Kenny's home ec teacher is just the most sexist woman ever. She's teaching the girls to reject men if they have more or less than 2 credit cards, etc. It's really, really funny stuff. Next episode, I love this one. Sexual Harassment Panda. It's as mad as it sounds. There's so much sexual harassment going on in schools. The school board have a guy in a panda costume who believes he's an actual panda show up to teach kids about sexual harassment. And it's just so dumb. I mean, what do 8-year-olds need to know about sexually harassing each other? And of course, it just leads to loads and loads of lawsuits. Stan calls Cartman an ass sucker. Cartman turns it into a case of Stan is asking him to suck his ass, and Kyle's dad is the lawyer, starts representing everyone in all these lawsuits, and no issue that the public schools are paying billions of dollars, knowing where he knows where it comes from. It's a pretty funny episode. In the end, Sexual Harassment Panda gets laid off along with practically every member of the school staff. They find him, and get him to realise he is a panda, not a guy in a panda suit, but he needs a new identity, so he becomes the Don't Sue People panda and stops everyone from suing each other. And in the end, God knows what happens with like all the houses Kyle's dad has bought. He's just back in his normal house the next day. It's probably just the usual TV show thing of it being forgotten about, that you always just sold him off on his bank money because like he's Jewish, so using Cartman stereotypes, he's probably hoarding all that money as like much as he can. Yeah, funny episode, but it's one I love. The sex harassment panned us up. Oh, and you got Skeeter, the completely insane barman who's constantly no, not barman, it's his friend who's a barman, he's just one of the customers who's constantly, some people doesn't take kindly to them, whether it's beautiful women, panda bears, or 8-year-olds. Very, very funny stuff. Next episode, I'm going to kind of end it after this arc. This is like they call it the first 3-parter. Cat Orgy, 2 guys naked in a hot tub, and Jubilee. It's like this meteor shower, and all 3 episodes do flow together quite nicely. Cat Orgy is great. Cartman is being babysat by Shelley, Stan's sister, and of course she doesn't take any shit from Cartman whatsoever. You know, she well and truly puts him into place very, very quickly. Cartman ain't happy because first he just thinks he can push her around. Hey, put that pizza in the oven, bitch, I'm hungry. But yeah, she smacks him around or punches him into a wall, calling it to crack to, you know, put him in his place, and it works quite well. She has this 22-year-old boyfriend, Shelley's 12, and him and his band come over and play. The guy, Skylar's just a complete dick. You know, Shelley won't put out, so he dumps her. Cartman, of course, gets proof that she had a boyfriend over, which apparently wasn't allowed. But then when he sees how upset Shelley is, he actually does feel bad and helps her get a revenge on Skylar, which is pretty damn funny. The main part of it, of course, is really, well, it's the B-plot. Cartman's cat is on heat. The cat Cartman thinks is male, which he calls Mr. Kitty, but is clearly a female. Goes off on a quest to meet some other cats. Eventually comes across like a bunch of random cats in an alley. Like mount the cat at the same time. Right, but before that, there's like an even more obese version of Garfield that tries the same thing, but just passes out from like too much energy trying to mount Mr. Kitty. So yeah, when Cartman and Shelley are out, the cat show's back. They basically host a cat orgy where they're all getting high on catnip and mating each other. Very, very funny. They get Shelley and Cartman get revenge on Skylar. You know, destroy his cat and throws his guitar, throws it in the cat litter they brought along. He comes back for his revenge. Cartman throws the cat litter in Skylar's face, the catnip in Skylar's face, and all the cats just attack Skylar, claw his penis off. Very, very funny. And yeah, Cartman's mum returns home from the party, passes out, and that kind of ties into the episode which is sort of before that, the hot tub one. Basically, Kyle's dad and Zan's dad decide to experiment and get wild at a drunken party by jacking off in front of each other in the hot tub, because it's not really gay, so it's a night for experimenting, so why not? So they do that. Kyle's dad seemingly is now like wanting to be nice and more friendly with Randy. It's pretty bizarre. And yeah, Kyle's not there, he's at Jubilee, so Stan's kind of got no friends there. He has to hang out with, forgot them, but at least pop characters. Pip, great to see him again. Butters, and this kind of feels like his pass the torch episode to Pip, and then this kid called Dougie, who's like a couple of years below. They're basically all complete losers, or Melvins, Stances, whatever that means. And yeah, he's supposed to hang out with them. And of course, the other plot is the ATF there convinced it's a suicide cult. Of course, it's not, and they just do stupid things like killing the people inside, or like just claiming their warning shots. And yeah, the kids get the message to the one real reporter out there who stops what they're doing. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. Stan's dad finds out he's not the only guy who's jacked off in front of another guy, or everyone in there has. Even Jimbo and his like tough looking friend have both done it together. Everything's cool. They're not gay. Him and Gerald are friends again, and everything's gonna be okay. But then the ATF don't blow the house up because the real reporter there who shows up a couple of times and stops it. And the other episode is because Kyle comes back at the end with Ike in their Jew Scouts costume, and of course Stan's new friendship with these kids completely forgotten. And the last one is Jubilee. Basically, Kyle goes to this Jew Scouts. Kenny has got absolutely nowhere else to go, but shows up at Kyle's. He comes along and poses as a Jewish kid because Kenny's got nowhere else to be at that night. So they go there, and basically you got this like a group of Jewish elders, and you got this new guy, the leader of the Church of Anti-Semitic Jews, who wants to bring Haman back. I don't know anything about Jewish history, so I'm just going by what happens in the episode. But Haman, his voice even sounds like Satan from the South Park film. Clearly, he's the villain. And yeah, Moses is like the giant head from Tron. The scouts all honour him with macaroni squares. Kenny gets found out for not being Jewish and is like thrown out and gets the shame of not getting to eat any cake. So he's on, but he managed to save the day. Basically, this bear is like killing all these like the Jew Scout kids, things like of Ike's age, but sometimes he's just hosting a party for his cub. And yeah, Kenny and the bear, they save the day. Kenny has, after Moses is imprisoned in a conch shell, Man is released to take over the world. The Jew Scouts naturally are perfectly fine with obeying Haman if the alternative is dying. But in the end, Kenny saves the day, splits his head open in a conch shell, brings Moses out. Moses defeats Haman easily, and then kills the leader of the Church of Anti-Semitic Jews as a bit of revenge. It was great. Everyone cheers. It was like disintegrated skeleton. Yeah, good episodes. And I love that the 3 episodes do flow together quite nicely without just being a one set after the other, because they're kind of all happening at the same time. Yeah, really fun story. Cat Orgy is my favourite because of how truly insane the idea is about all these cats and everything. But yeah, great 3-parter. I know they don't do many of them, but I liked it. So yeah, that's the end of part 1. It's roughly halfway through, and it's a good sort of story arc to end on. I'm going to do the part 2 in a second. Just pause and start. I'll cut off this video, otherwise it'll be way too long for it in one go. But see you in a bit. Thank you.